Hey guys, Jen here. So I just finished watching all three of the TED Talks for this week. One of them I had actually seen in a previous class before. So Dana's study about his international student that we're learning about healthcare I'd watched in Data Viz. So not new there. I agree with some of the other points the classmates have made. He was very much about wow and show factor. So I didn't get too much out of that talk, but I really enjoyed the other two. Mona's talk about how to spot bad statistics. In my opinion, she kind of took a while to get to her main points, and I was just kind of on the edge of my seat, coming like, okay, what are the three things? But she made some great points about how we need to question the data, particularly are we looking for patterns of uncertainty? She touched on polling and how it's such a small sample size, so there's a lot of uncertainty as to the accuracy of it. Another point she made is, can you see yourself in the data? I didn't quite understand that one, but I really related to her last point is how we have to question the methodology of data collection. She focused particularly on sample size and the scope of the full survey. Are they just highlighting one question when we really need a second question to understand the data? And she talked about government versus private funded research. And I think something she needed to also make note of is who is funding the government research. Not all government-sponsored studies are solely from government funds. I found this a lot when I was working for a food and beverage company. We were looking at food waste, and you can actually see who paid for the study, and that skews the data and kind of adds to some of that untrustworthiness. So those were great points. I wasn't too much of a fan of some of her hand-drawn charts. I thought they were a little kitschy. And the topics, I know she was probably trying to entertain her audience, but I think it detracted from the seriousness of her points. The other talk I really enjoyed was David's about the beauty of visualization. He had some really interesting chart types, especially like uncommon ones, the bubble chart and the box chart, where he pretty much used to pie graphs and bar charts where I'm from. If we get really fancy, we'll have a line chart. But he really showed how you can tell a story in an interesting and captivating way. Unlike some of our lecture points, he probably used a little too much color. It was hard to find kind of like figure out what his point was because there was a rainbow of colors on the screen. Some other stuff that he really nailed was how we need to put the data into perspective. And Mona kind of touched on this, but his mention of what the U.S. military budget is in relation to per capita really tells the story accurately, which is one of the things we talked about. When we use data, we want to make sure we're being as honest as possible. So by scaling things, it adds to our credibility because we're being more honest. So that's definitely one of the takeaways I'll use in my presentation is what data set can I lay on top of mine to make it A, more trustworthy, and B, more relatable and reliable. So those are my takeaways. I hope everyone had a great week, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye.